guys, welcome and welcome back to Chocolate Covered Pages. I'm Kianna, and today I'm going to be doing another Try a Chapter tag, and this time I want to do Black fiction releases that are coming out in February and in March. Let's get to the book. So if you don't know, the Try a Chapter tag is basically where I will grab about 5 books and I will read the first chapter of all of these books. I will come back here, we will talk about these books, see if any of them are pulling me in, how I'm feeling about them from the beginning, the little teaser that I've gotten, and then I will decide at the end of the video which one of these 5 books I will continue on actually reading. Okay, so the first book I have is Nobody's Magic by Destiny O. Birdsong, and this book actually comes out in a couple days. This book comes out on February 8th, and I was blessed to get a advanced reader copy from the publishers. Actually, these are all advanced reader copies, obviously, because these are all upcoming releases. So thank you, publishers, for holding your girl down. This book, all I know about this book is that this book follows 3 black women that have albinism, and they live in Shreveport, Louisiana. That's all I know. I'm sorry, I wish I knew some more, but I know that each one of them have their own storyline. So I'm curious to see how they all connect at some point, but we will see what happens. Let's see. I already tabbed all the chapters off for these just to make it easier for myself. This book, the first chapter of this book is actually... Oh, the first chapter of this book is 64 pages. I'm not reading 64 pages. I am, for the sake of this video, I'm going to give this 20 pages. Because they have like these little, like, I don't know if you can see these little like page breaks with these like little leaves in them. So I'm going to stop at this leaf on page 20. And hopefully I have enough to go by to decide if I want to keep reading it or not. I mean, you never know. I might just actually continue reading past the 20 pages if it's really pulling me in, but we shall see. So that is book number 1. So the next book I'm going to pick up will be The Selfless Act of Breathing by J.J. Bola, and this book also comes out on February 8th. I have heard some great reviews about this one as well. I also have heard some great reviews on Nobody's Magic, glowing reviews. So I'm not able to read everything. I wish I could, but sometimes I have to rest my eyes. I cannot, you know, as readers we want to read all the things, but you know, we got other stuff that we got to do as well. So I'm glad that I'm doing this Try a Chapter tag because I need to be able to narrow it down. This book is about a British Congolese teacher who is living in London, and apparently his life is very good on paper. He has a lot of people that love him. His students love him. He's doing great. But behind closed doors, he is struggling because he is finding out about all these marginalized young black men that are being brutally killed around the world, and it is really messing with him. So he has decided to just one day pack up all his stuff and come to America, where he believes that he will have a better life. I could already tell him how this is going to end for him, but I'm going to read it and we'll see what happens. This first chapter is actually quite short. It's only 6 pages. So hopefully there's enough in these 6 pages for me to have some kind of thoughts on it. The next book I'm going to pick up will be Carolina Built by Kianna Alexander. And this book is a fictionalized version of the real life real estate magnate named Josephine N. Leary. And I'm sure this will be very interesting. I love fictionalized novels about real people in Black history. And look at this cover. Like, this cover is so beautiful. I can't wait to do something with it on my Instagram probably, but we'll see. The next book I'm gonna pick up is Memphis by Tara M. Stringfellow, and this is another one with a beautiful cover. This one comes out on March 1st, and this is another one that people have been going crazy for. I have seen a lot of glowing reviews for this one as well, and it's actually kind of made me wait a little bit, let it settle. But it ain't gonna settle because the book ain't even out yet and people are already going crazy about it. So I'm sure once it finally comes out, there will be even more chatter. So I want to definitely try to hop on this train before too many people, you know, start throwing their little opinions in. So this book is one of my favorite kinds of fiction novels. This is a multi-generational saga type of book. It spans 70 years through 3 generations of black women in this family, and one of the women in this family realizes that she has the power to change her legacy. I don't know what that means. I'm sure I will find out. This first chapter is only 12 pages, so thank you. Thank you, Tara M. Stringfellow, for this. Another book that I'm going to be picking up is When We Were Birds by Ayanna, Lloyd, banwo. Another beautiful cover. These 2022 covers are really bringing it. Like, they're not playing with us, I'm telling you, because all these covers are beautiful, which is why I really could not decide which one I actually wanted to pick up and just read. So I'm like, you know what, let me just do a chapter because I need to narrow it down. This one I know is regarding a man and a woman. This is supposed to be like some kind of love story set in Trinidad and Tobago, which I love Trinidad and Tobago. Well, I mostly love Tobago because Tobago is just like a beautiful place to vacation. Should definitely take a trip there if you ever get the opportunity. But anything set in Trinidad and Tobago is going to have my attention for sure. So it is set in Trinidad and Tobago, and it's supposed to be like mythical, and apparently this guy and this girl are connected by their connection to the dead. It's something regarding them having a connection to the dead that brings them both together, and it is a love story. That's all I know, and it has been getting very good reviews as well. This one comes out March 1st as well. And this first, let's see. Yeah, this first chapter is only 7 pages. So hopefully that's enough. I mean, we shall see. You know, it doesn't take too much for me to be intrigued, but, you know, we'll see what happens. Anyway, let me get to reading and I will be back. Alright, y'all, I'm back with Nobody's Magic. I also want to point out that I did not do this to this book. You see this? I didn't do that, okay? This book was damaged in transit, so I just want to point that out, okay? Because this is my first time even cracking this book open. So, anyway, I read 20 pages, and whew, we first meet, I'm assuming this is the first black woman that we're going to meet. The first of the 3. Remember, this is the book with the 3 women that have albinism, and they're living in Shreveport, Louisiana. The first woman we meet is Suzette in this first 20 pages, and we find out that she's only 20 years old. She's, you know, very young, and she has some self-esteem issues. I can tell. You know, it's very important to her that, you know, she applies her makeup very, you know, carefully, and she's very aware of, she's very self-conscious of what she wears, how she does her makeup, how she does her hair. Like, everything is everything has to be just right for her. I can tell. Also, she's very sheltered by her parents. Like, I can tell that she's very sheltered. She's very a bit spoiled. I find her a little bit spoiled. A little bit bratty. And you could tell from the beginning that she is, like, they are sheltering her from something. And then we find out as we keep reading that something has happened to her when she was a kid. I think when she was around 7 years old. She got cool with another little girl. The parent of that little girl was trying to do like some kind of voodoo ritual and take her eyes or something. And after her parents found out about that, that was like such a close call, because she was actually supposed to spend the night at this person's house. So I could understand why they were like, oh, hell no. They done pulled her out of school. Like this, she's 20. She can't go to college. She can't really hang out with anybody other than this one close friend that she has right now named Drina, who, you know, this is her only outside person basically, other than like her parents and stuff. And she can't drive a car. Like, she can't do anything. She's pretty much like a prisoner in her own crib. And the other thing that I find out is that it seems like there's like a little bit of a budding romance that's going to happen. Possibly. It just seems like it to me, a little bit of flirting, but we'll see. My thoughts so far is I'm definitely intrigued. I want to see what else is going to happen. I have never read a book where characters had albinism, and I am very interested. Okay, so I just finished reading my 6 pages for the Selfless Act of Breathing. And this was the book regarding the professor that wanted to leave. And I mean, 6 pages is barely nothing, to be honest. The only thing that happens in this chapter is it puts us smack dab with him already at the airport, and he is filled with such anxiety he ends up at the wrong gate. He's at the wrong gate at the airport, and he is freaking out because everyone knows, like, international flights, you need to be there by a certain time or that gate will close on you, and that'll be the end of that. But what is interesting is the very first few sentences, it says that he has his life savings, which is about a little over $9,000. And it also says that when he has run out of money, he will kill himself. Whew. Right. So that's an interesting way to start a book. I'm not gonna lie. But basically he is going crazy trying to get on this flight, and this flight is going from London to San Francisco. I don't know why San Francisco, but I'm sure I will find out if I decide to continue reading it. Yeah, when he finally gets to that gate and he realizes he's at the wrong one, then he has to like rush through to get to a whole nother gate. And he's like pushing through people, and I mean just chaotic. And I was getting anxiety myself just reading it, because I'm one of those people, if I'm traveling anywhere, I have to be there 2 hours in advance. I do not care. I do not care if it's international, domestic, whatever. I will be there 2 hours in advance. I just like that peace of mind of just sitting at the gate, reading my book, chilling on a computer, whatever, having a little meal. I know that no matter what, my ass is getting on this flight. Okay? So I can understand. And I don't even understand how he let this happen. He wasn't paying attention. I don't know. But he almost missed his flight. He ended up making it on the flight. And he is now safely on the flight, and it is about to take off. And I am very curious to know what is going to happen next. What I'm thinking is going to happen next is that it is going to backtrack and tell us how do we get to this point, obviously. So what I will say is that the writing, I can tell the writing is beautiful. I can just tell just in 6 pages that this author knows what he's doing, for sure. Okay, so I have read my first chapter of Carolina Built, and so first we find out that Josephine, who this book is about, we find out that Josephine was 9 years old when slavery was abolished, which is not that long ago from where the book starts off. Once slavery has been abolished, their grandmother has been hired to this white man's laundry, and in exchange for doing his laundry, they all sleep in this one-room cabin. Fast forward to 1873, which is only a couple years later from where the book starts off, and Josephine has just gotten married to this man named Archer, and we also find out that Josephine's father was a white soldier, and he does not acknowledge her and her younger brother as, his kids or whatever. And she's like completely okay with that. But we find out that she ends up getting married to another man, to Archer, who is also biracial as well, but he is much lighter than she is, and he is white passing, unlike her, who's on the browner side, who you could tell is black. And it's this scene where they are actually, Archer is excited about purchasing this plot of land. And when they get there, the white guy who was selling it to them, he was, excited to sell it to Archer, thinking that he's a white man. But then he sees this black woman, and Archer is not denying her. He's like, yeah, this is my wife. And he's like, I didn't know I was going to be doing business with any colored people. And he is like, well, it is what it is. And basically he's like, oh, you know what, I'm gonna need you guys to pay the full price for this plot of land. It's like $500, but it originally said that he only had to pay half price. So now that he sees that he's there with this black woman, he's like, no, I need y'all to pay the full price. And of course Archer is getting upset because he don't have $500. And then Josephine comes through in the clutch, and she's like, you know what, I got $500. Let's go to the bank right now. They go to the bank. She gives him the $500, and now he has to give the deed to Josephine, this black woman, and it is eating him up inside, but it is so satisfying to Josephine, because I'm sure he never thought he would have to sell this piece of land to this black woman. And that night, Josephine writes in her journal about, her ancestors. And I just want to read something that I thought was just perfect, just inspiring. And okay. Their sacrifices, their pain will not be in vain. I will amass more property, more land than they could have ever imagined, and I will obtain the wealth they should have been afforded for their labors, and much more. My children will never lack food or shelter, and I will never ever suffer the humiliation of surrendering my very existence to a white man ever again. Yes, okay? Because she is old enough to remember how slavery was. And I could just imagine how she felt during this moment, being able to buy this land that, probably has the blood of her ancestors in it, So we get to that part. We fast forward a couple months, and her and Archer are moving into another place that they're just renting. But I'm thinking that they may end up being able to purchase that location as well. But I'm just excited for her at this point. This is all happening in I believe the prologue and chapter 1. It's still like 26 pages anyway, so I just read it. But I'm just excited for her because I just feel like this is the beginning of like the rest of her life. She's still super young. They haven't had any kids yet. They've just gotten married. They moved her grandmother in their house that they just moved into, and I'm just so excited for her. And I am loving on Archer because Archer is letting her do what she needs to do. Like, he's not on some I'm the man, I'm the husband. Like, he's like, okay boo, you got it, you know, do your thing. I will step back and I will let you do you, and I will come in as need be, and you know, that's it. And I love to see relationships like that on the page because we love good husbands. We love good supportive husbands around here. So all in all, a very good start for this one. So the next book I picked up was Memphis. And this was the multi-generational saga. And at the beginning of this book, we start in 1995 with Joan, and we find out that Joan and her younger sister Maya and her mom have left their abusive father in another state. I don't know what state they left, but now they have traveled to move into Joan's grandfather's house, which is where her aunt lives nearby, and her aunt's son Derek. Now we find out in the first chapter that clearly something has happened between Joan and Derek. I don't know exactly, but I have a couple of theories in my mind, because when she sees him and she gets some flashback memories of 7 years ago, he did something to her. And he did something to her so bad that as soon as she sees him, she pees on herself. Now, and these are teenagers, so clearly something traumatic has happened between them two, and I'm not sure I'm ready to read the rest of this because it just seems like it's going to be very, very heavy. And I've been reading a lot of heavy books lately, so I'm not sure, but I can tell you that I can definitely tell like this story is going to be moving because I've already found out so much within the first chapter. So let's see how I feel about the rest of the books. Okay, so I just finished reading the first chapter. Is this the first chapter? Yes, the first chapter of When We Were Birds. So this was the book that was set in Trinidad and Tobago, and we start off with Yejideh's point of view. And she's a young girl at this point, and her grandmother is telling her a story. And this mythical story she's telling her is about a time where it was only animals that roamed the forest. There was only animals, and then eventually eventually a warrior discovered these animals in this forest where animals could talk to each other and communicate. And of course, once one warrior discovers it, now he gonna come and bring other warriors, and now there's priests, there's government, there's all these types of people coming into this area and messing things up, because you know that is what humans do. We just come into things and we just mess up nature. And of course, after all these people come, now there's war happening. Nature is getting completely destroyed. The animals are being destroyed. and animals just begin to leave. And she talks about specifically birds, these colored birds, and how half of these colored birds decided to fly in one direction and then the other half flew in another direction. Well, the other half that flew in the other direction turned into what they're calling in this book corbeau. But it sounds like from the description they are vultures, because they're saying that these birds turned into these vultures, and when they came back to this area, they were able to eat the flesh of dead things. In doing that, they have somehow saved this area from, I guess, being completely destroyed. And it just sounds like just like a mythical story, but I'm sure there's a lot more to this story being the start of the book, pretty much. And then in the end, the grandmother says that the corbeau always remembers that they had to save us, basically, and they don't forget. So I don't know what that means. It's all very slightly sinister. Yeah, I don't fully understand what that means. I'm sure as you continue through the book, you will find out what it all means together, because obviously the book is called When We Were Birds. So there's also a part where it talks about that these corbeaus take in I guess like the spirits of things that they're eating, something like that. But very interesting. And now it's making me start to think about kind of the synopsis of the book, that Yejide and the guy that she's supposed to, I guess, meet, they have some type of connection to the dead. So I don't know what that means. Maybe they were both corbeau in their previous life. I don't know, but it sounds very interesting. Okay, you guys, so I have all the books here, and honestly, I'm not gonna lie to y'all, like, all of these books have very, very good starts, very promising starts. I would honestly continue with any of these if I had the time. I mean, I don't know, it's still the beginning of February. Mind you guys, my February reading has been going very well, very, very well, if I must say so myself. So it's very possible that I could continue through these all. I don't know, but I don't want to put that pressure on myself. So for now, I am going to pick one that I would like to for sure continue with, and I think that's going to be based on my mood. I think it's going to have to be Carolina Builts. And the reason why I'm going to say Carolina Built is because I like that it's moving at a fairly fast pace. It doesn't feel like stagnant or very like, you know, info dumpy. I know this is supposed to be about her life, but I'm actually very interested. I'm also just interested in real estate and buying property, period. So maybe that's why, but I am very, very interested in to see like Josephine's journey and how she begins to continue to acquire this property. I'm sure she runs into a lot of roadblocks because, you know, these white people didn't want her owning nothing. But I am very curious to see what happens. I want to read some more about her and her new husband Archer, because he sounds like such a sweetheart. And by the way, his nickname is Sweetie, which I just think is very cute. But yeah, so but the rest of these are such great contenders to continue. Did I say contenders to continue on with? This, I think, I'm very interested in, but the only reason why I'm not sure I want to continue with it just yet, I think this would be a really good, probably number 2 option for me. The only reason why it's not number 1 for me is because, I don't know, he's talking about killing himself. I don't know if I want to read about that right now. I did not know that that was in this book, but I'm not sure I want to read about that right now. This is another one that seems very, very heavy. I don't know what her cousin did to her, but I am nervous about it for sure. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe if I read like some, you know, happy books in between, maybe throw in a couple romances in between, I might feel good enough to pick this one up. But we will see. And by the way, I do take back my earlier statement. I saw that this book got pushed back to April. This was originally supposed to come out on March 1st, which is what my ARC says, but it now says April on Goodreads. So, which is a little good for me, because now that means I have more time to read it if I want. This I definitely want to read some more of. I definitely do. I'm very intrigued by what is going to happen next. How do these two get together? We'll see. We'll see. I'm such a mood reader. I really could just, you know, read Carolina Built, and then next thing you know, I'm picking up this. You know, you just never know with me. I don't know what to say. Nobody's Magic, I think, has a really good start. Yeah, I think it has a really good start. I'm not sure I'm in the mood to read about a bratty 20-year-old. Even though I know that she has a lot going on with her, I'm not sure I'm interested in reading about that right now. Maybe if we had started with another one of the other characters that, you know, maybe had a little bit more going on with them, I might have felt like, okay, you know, this story is something that I want to continue on with reading. But I definitely do want to read this book. I want to continue with this book, but I think it's gonna be on a pause for right now. What else? Yeah, so that's all the books. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure you give me a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed, make sure you do so, and I'll catch you in the next video. Bye.